It's a packed weekend at the Temple of Speed. F1's fastest race is back. The Ferraris are back in front of the Tifosi again. Let's talk about Monza and the Italian Grand Prix. And we'll start off with the schedule, because we have F3, F2 and F1. I think we also have the Porsche Super Cup. For F3, it's their final appearance of 2025. The title's already been decided. Rafael Camaro has already taken that, but I believe second place is still very much up for grabs. There are only 2 points in it. F3 will start off the weekend, and I'll give the times in local time, and then for the F1 ones I'll also give UK time. If you're trying to translate it, just take an hour off and then you get the UK time. F3 practice opens proceedings on Friday at 9:35 local time, and then F2 practice is 11 o'clock. Then we have the FP1 at 1:30, which is 12:30 UK time. F3 qualifying follows at 3 PM local. It has 2 different groups for the qualifying, and that's similar to at Monaco. Part of it's because of all the slipstreaming and everything like that. You don't want what happened in F1 in 2019 there. That Alfa Max Nova one was a great meme, with the first one to be out gets a Mercedes seat and then Ocon no. FP2 for F1 follows F2 quali, which is at 3:55 local time. FP2 for F1 is at 5 PM local time, 4 PM UK, and then the Porsche Super Cup practice follows just after that. On Saturday, it opens with the F3 Sprint, 9:15 local, before the Super Cup quali at 10:35. FP3 for F1 is at 12:30 local, 11:30 UK, followed by the F2 Sprint at 2:15 local. Then you have F1 qualifying, 4 PM local time, 3 PM UK time, and that rounds out the Saturday action. Sunday's action opens early, 8:15 local time for F3 feature. The F2 feature is at 9:45 local. The Super Cup race is 11:45 local time, and then the Grand Prix starts at 3 PM local time, 2 PM UK time. And as for the weather forecast, I've talked about it for recent rounds because we've seen chances of rain. Not so much likely here. Supposedly, according to the forecast I'm looking at from the Met Office, there's a chance on Friday morning before the on-track action starts. That's the highest chance there is of rain over the course of the weekend, with highs of 27 on each of the 3 days of action and lows of 18 on Friday, 19 on Saturday and 20 on Sunday. Seems like the summer hasn't really ended in Monza just yet. Now let's turn the clock back 12 months and talk about the 2024 race. It was won by Charles Leclerc after the 2 McLarens squabbled between each other on the first lap. He just got through and ran off. Piastri led home Norris, and then Sainz was just off the podium, with Lewis Hamilton in 5th from Verstappen, from Russell, from Perez, from Albon, from Magnussen. It was also the first weekend we saw Franco Colapinto. He finished 12th place. And also, it was where Kimi Antonelli made his F1 weekend debut with the free practice crash, whilst also setting blistering times. He was announced to be replacing Sir Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes right after that. So in terms of ones to watch then, should we keep an eye out for the Tifosi this weekend? Leclerc did win last year, and if they've managed to get everything to run on tracks with less elevation, surely Monza would be a good one for them to win at. Supposedly, there are a couple of upgrades coming in. However, they have cursed themselves a little bit with their one-off paint job for this year, with a lot more white on the car. For those of you who aren't aware, Ferrari supposedly has this kind of curse where the times where they wear more white on their livery are the times where they perform slightly worse, or it's where they have rotten luck, or it's where tragedy happens. So, this more white on the airbox at Monza, it looks nice, but they've just come off the back of a double DNF. I know, Zandvoort wasn't mechanical. It was Lewis made a mistake on the wet and crashed it, and then Antonelli wiped out Leclerc. But it's a curse you don't really want to have in front of your home crowd. Either way, McLaren will definitely be the favourites here because of the developments they've had on their car. Wouldn't be surprised if it was a 1-2. I mean, after all, they did win here in 2021. I know there was a Verstappen and Hamilton crash, but Ricciardo still looked as one of the favourites to win before that happened. Verstappen will also be someone to keep an eye out for, though. That Red Bull in the ultra low downforce, ultra low drag spec has been quite competitive. I mean, look at it at Silverstone, look at it at Spa. Arguably the biggest undoings for it at those two races was when the weather came in. Because the inclement weather had an impact on how they were able to run, because they then had to compromise. In Silverstone they didn't compromise, and Verstappen got loose quite a bit, quite a lot, because of the lack of downforce in the wet. Whereas Spa, they were able to compromise a bit, and he was able to keep toe-to-toe with Leclerc. So it really depends. You could easily see 3 teams in the offing. I mean, at the same time, Mercedes, they did do quite well at Canada, but Canada also, one of the things that benefited them compared to the McLarens was it was a cooler track. The track temperature was a lot lower. But this kind of flatter surface and high speed stuff does also support Mercedes. I think, though, that it will be McLaren as the favourites, and then Verstappen and Leclerc just ahead of Hamilton, who will be around where the Mercs are. He might be behind Russell and ahead of Antonelli, if I'm right about that. I don't know the lottery numbers, I'm afraid. But either way, folks, those are my thoughts, feelings, and observations. As always, thank you so much for watching and joining. And I hope to see you again soon for the review over the course of this weekend. Till next time, it's bye-bye for now.